Where will Shohei Ohtani and the other big-name free agents sign this offseason? Let's make some predictions on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Saturday, November 18th. I am Frank Stanfield, joined by Scott White. Let's have some fun. Predict the landing spots for the top 5 free agents this offseason. And Scott, no surprise, number 1, maybe the best free agent in baseball history, Shohei Ohtani, will wind up where?
As much as I want to say the Atlanta Braves, because there has been some buzz out there, and can you imagine that lineup?
No.
With Acuna and Ohtani at the top. No, I mean that's obvious. That obviously would be a homer take, and I don't want to go there. I'm going to say the Dodgers, just because I feel like they've been plotting this move for a couple years. Remember, they kind of sat out free agency last off season, and we're just planning to introduce some younger players. And I even back then it was speculated this is so they could make a big play for Ohtani in what is now the current off season. And because they're the Dodgers, I mean, if they want to back up the truck for him, they can back up the truck for them. So I think it ultimately is a matter of how badly they want him. And I think they want him pretty badly. So I'm going to say Ohtani to the Dodgers.
Well, that makes 2 of us, Scott, because I am also going with the Dodgers. Look, this has been the favorite for so long to wind up with Shohei Ohtani. I do think there will be some other teams in the mix. The Texas Rangers we've heard about. I think the Cubs want to make a splash after bringing in Craig Counsell. But in the end, it will be the Dodgers. And can you imagine a top 3 that features Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Shohei Ohtani? I mean, my gosh. What that is going to mean for fantasy for years to come will be amazing. The number 2 free agent, according to some lists, actually on CBSSports.com, they have their number 2 free agent is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who is a 25-year-old phenom starting pitcher who's coming over from Japan, expected to land $200+ million in a contract. Scott, where do you think Yamamoto winds up?
So I kind of want to say Dodgers and hedge my bet here, in case they don't get Ohtani. But I'm not going to do that. That's the coward's way. I'm going to say Yoshinobu Yamamoto to the Giants. The Giants, who have a need for pitching and just, they got to do something because the fan base is getting restless. And I think a big splash like this, a West Coast team where it sounds like Yamamoto would prefer to be, I think the Giants will be very much in the mix and ultimately come through and sign him.
And you know what, Scott? We are 2 for 2 because
I
am also going with the Giants here. The report of him preferring to be on the West Coast. I think the Dodgers will be in the mix as well. The Giants have missed out the past couple of years on big names. They were close on Aaron Judge. They were close on Carlos Correa. Maybe thankfully that didn't work out for them. But I think need to bring in a big name. They kind of need like a face of the organization, whatever it might be. And I think maybe Yamamoto can be exactly that. I'm also choosing the Giants. Number 3, we have our first position player here on the list, and that is Cody Bellinger. Where does he go?
I'm gonna guess we part ways here, Frank, because you're going to be afraid of sounding like a homer. I will be a homer on your behalf and say Cody Bellinger goes to the Yankees, because they need offense pretty badly. And I think just it's kind of the Yankees' MO whenever there is a player coming off a big season that maybe the rest of the league is, the majority of the league is skeptical about. The Yankees will go ahead and be the ones who step up and give him the big contract he's looking for. It also, just from an analytical standpoint, like if there is any place Bellinger could go and still continue to produce like he did with the Cubs, despite some suspect exit velocities, him being a left-handed hitter, it's the Yankees, Yankee Stadium, short porch and right. So I think it would be a good fit for him there too.
All right. Well, according to Scott, following in the footsteps of his father, Clay Bellinger, Cody winds up with the Yankees. I think he's going back to the Chicago Cubs. I think the Cubs are going to be in the mix for a bunch of different free agents this offseason. I think they want to make some moves. They brought in the big manager in Craig Counsell, and I think that maybe they miss out on Ohtani. They pivot. They bring back Cody Bellinger, and I actually think that would be great for his fantasy value, seeing as how he just had one of his best seasons with the Chicago Cubs. Number 4, we are back to pitching, Scott. Aaron Nola. Where does he wind up?
All right, this one I'm going to say is the Braves. Aaron Nola goes to the Braves. They're definitely in the market for starting pitching. That's a huge need for the team, and I think they would prefer to get like a workhorse type as opposed to somebody who maybe has a bit more of a injury history, even if you can count on for a lower ERA. I'm thinking somebody like Sonny Gray. I think the Braves would prefer Aaron Nola, and there are reasons to believe he might like to go there. He has a relationship with their pitching coach, Rick Kranitz. The two got along well in Philadelphia, and in fact, Kranitz last year with the Phillies was Nola's best year, 2018. Also, he's a Southern boy. He's got the accent and everything. So I think it makes sense on many levels. Aaron Nola to the Braves.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I think the Braves wind up with somebody, whether it's Nola, Sonny Gray, Jordan Montgomery, maybe it's the trade market. But I'm actually going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals, who have already come out and said they want to sign not 1, not 2, but 3 starting pitchers this offseason. So we know they're in the market. Aaron Nola is arguably the top one out there. And I think the Cardinals can use a workhorse like that up top. And I think Aaron Nola winds up in St. Louis. Number 5, last but not least, Blake Snell, your NL Cy Young Award winner, goes to blank.
Cardinals. That's my Cardinals pick.
Right.
Blake Snell to the Cardinals, because there was a lot of chatter during the season that maybe the Cardinals need to change their approach. They've relied so much over the years on more pitch to contact guys, and maybe they need a power arm at the top of the rotation, a real big bat misser, and Blake Snell is certainly that. So it would seem to fit with that narrative. And as you pointed out, they're very much in the market for starting pitching as well.
All right. Well, the Phillies lost out on Aaron Nola. How do they replace him? They bring in Blake Snell. So that's what I think is going to happen. He winds up in Philadelphia. Obviously they still need a top of the rotation guy to go along with Zach Wheeler. That's a team that wants to compete. They're obviously going for World Series year in and year out. They have an amazing team, very high payroll. I do think Blake Snell could potentially fill in for Aaron Nola if he leaves the Phillies. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again next week. Bye-bye.